I'm a registered dietitian and I am your host today. We have a very interesting thing to do in today's podcast, and bear in mind, it's our first season and our first episode. I'm really excited that you are watching, and I hope that you're going to be able to gain something really meaningful from today's podcast. Alright? So what we're going to be doing is dealing with case studies or questions that people throw at me. Then I am not going to be doing the presentation alone today. I have with me a very gorgeous and beautiful lady who is my friend and also my colleague. She's aka Dublessed forever. Welcome, Dublessed forever.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here.
It's really nice to have you in the studio, and you're always going to be seeing Dublessed forever in this studio.
Oh, yes.
Because we work together. Yes. All right. So that being said, let us dive in. But before we do that quickly, I want to just give a disclaimer. All right. Whatever we are doing here, it is not an intention to carry out any dietary assessment on you at all.
Oh, yes.
It's not intended to diagnose you of any condition.
That's correct.
And it's not intended to treat you either. If there's anything that you're suffering from, please consult your medical practitioners.
Please.
And they are in the best position to direct you or to send you a referral or give you a referral to see a registered dietitian.
That's correct.
Alright. And also I want to advise that please you do not take any advice from this forum to go and change your diet straight away, because we are not advising you to make a change to your diet straight away. However, whatever we're doing here is just solely for educational purposes and to help you to, have some insights into food, nutrition, and wellness, because that's exactly what we do on this channel.
Yes.
So what we're going to be doing, Dublessed Forever is your representative.
Yes.
She's going to be giving questions to me, which you have submitted.
Lots of questions for your dietitians.
Oh, that's awesome, and I am ready.
Okay, I've got lots of questions on my phone here. I don't want to read them offhand.
Okay.
I want her to answer your questions accurately. All right, I have a case study I'm going to be reading out.
Yes.
Before I ask her the questions. The first case study is this. I was having digestive pains, diarrhea, and constipation severely.
Okay.
This went on for some years.
Okay.
When I stopped eating gluten, the pain stopped, and whenever I eat gluten, I get a flare up.
Okay.
I have tried to get a gluten taste, but I have been unable to, due to the fact that I need to be eating gluten for 6 weeks before the taste.
Okay.
What can I do?
Okay. Wow, that's a very, very practical question, because oftentimes what we actually see is that people stop eating gluten all of a sudden because they just feel like gluten must be what's causing my issue. They just stop. They haven't got a proper diagnosis, but they just stop. And I can understand that, because probably they're suffering and it's not easy, you know what I mean, to be going through such digestive issues.
Constipation, pains.
So I can understand if you all of a sudden get told that maybe it's because you're eating so food. You want to quickly stop that food because you can't just carry on with the pain. So I get it. I really get it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but however, the concern of this patient is that he or she has already stopped, and now she needs to get a diagnosis. And to get the diagnosis, she needs to eat that same gluten
again. But she's severely constipated
when she eats it. Yes. And she experiences other things.
That's right.
Well, but she needs a diagnosis. The only way she can get diagnosis is to eat gluten for 6 weeks continuously.
That's correct. Before we go on, my first question is, educate us on what is gluten.
Okay. That's a very good question.
Because I want to know too. I've heard a lot about gluten. What really is gluten?
Okay, that's awesome. That's a very great question. Very simply, gluten is a type of protein that's found in some foods. Not in all the foods. It's found in some grains. For example, it's found in wheat.
Okay.
It's found in barley. And it's found in rye. It's also found in spelt. It's a type of grain, okay? Oats, I would have mentioned oats, but directly oats does not contain gluten. However, because in most places where they handle oats are places where they also handle wheat, maybe in the same factory, you know what I mean, or the same farmers that are handling all of them. So then there can be cross-contamination.
That's correct. Okay.
Therefore, if you are somebody who has gluten intolerance, you also do not want to just be consuming oats.
That's right.
Just because you think oat doesn't have gluten there. But you will need to buy gluten-free oats. So there are oats that are processed in areas where wheat or other gluten-containing foods are not processed. So your question was, what's gluten? So gluten is a type of protein.
Thank you. I know that now. Thank you. My next question is, why do people have intolerance to gluten? What problem does it cause to them?
Okay, another fantastic question. Because some people can eat gluten, you can eat bread, do you?
Yeah, I can eat bread.
Some people cannot eat bread, alright? Just like that, because of the gluten in it. You know, I've explained that gluten is a protein found in wheat.
That's right.
So every food that has flour in it is a gluten-containing food.
Okay.
So some people eat it and they can't stomach it. It gives them pains and different kind of things, digestive symptoms. Okay, some people will have constipation, some will suffer diarrhea, and some will suffer different things. Why? Well, a couple of reasons. There is not really a known reason that science has uncovered that makes people have intolerance.
Okay.
It is either they have autoimmunity, for example, where your body is supposed to defend your body against certain things that may cause harm to the body.
It's certain deficiencies.
Yeah, not really deficiencies. Like, for example, if you're eating a type of food that contains pathogen or a bacteria, and your body knows it, your body is supposed to be able to deal with it. Okay. But in this case, instead of your body dealing with such things, your body will be attacking your own body. Your body is now seeing, when you eat gluten, your body is seeing, it's interpreting it as a foreign thing. Okay. And then that fight starts, and your body can't handle the pains that comes from that. That's one. Another thing is because over the years, wheat has been modified in terms of farming.
That's true.
In the olden days, wheat didn't used to cause so much issues. But now, the alteration in the farming processes has now made gluten a bit different from its natural state.
Could it be some of the chemicals they use in farming?
Yes, and many other things that we can't name here.
And I read in some podcasts about they have genetically modified some of our crops. Yes. Okay, all right.
So this genetic modification.
Thank you for shedding the light. That's really good.
That one alone has altered the contents of this food. Yeah. So some people or human beings do not have the enablement in their stomach to handle it. That's correct. So what do you get? Flare-ups, pains, intolerance, and different symptoms. So those are the reasons why. Yes.
And it's really bad when you're constipated.
Very, very uncomfortable.
All right. Thank you, my honorable dietitian.
Oh, thank you.
My next question is it a dangerous condition? Should we be worried about it for such people?
Okay. That's a very brilliant question. Actually, I would say yes. Okay, I would say yes because, let me answer it this way. If you are intolerant to gluten, when you can't have gluten, we say you have celiac, okay? That's celiac disease.
What's celiac disease?
That is intolerance to gluten. When you cannot eat gluten. If gluten causes you pains and all those issues, inflammation, then you have celiac disease, okay? So it is something that we should be worried about for people who don't have it. Because if you continue to eat it, and you continue to, apart from the symptoms you are having, it's actually causing several issues in the body. It's causing you inflammation of the digestive system. That inflammation, if it's not checked or stopped, will go on to stop you from absorbing the important nutrients from your food, such as iron, B12, calcium, and more. Oh, wow. So by the time you begin to experience deficiencies in these nutrients, what will happen? You will begin to suffer the consequences of not having enough of these nutrients.
Okay.
Such as anemia, which is low blood count.
Okay. Yeah.
Such as pains in the joints because of lack of calcium.
Yeah.
And many other issues relating to calcium deficiencies. Okay? And it has also been said that gluten intolerance, if not checked, may even lead to type 1 diabetes.
Oh, wow.
It may also even lead to infertility. Did you believe that?
Oh, you're joking.
Yes, because by the
That's
time...
serious.
Yeah, look at it.
So we should really be worried for
yes.
any of our families or friends
Yes.
who are going through these issues.
Yes.
Okay.
Because by the time you are now having low deficiencies of these nutrients, what else? Then the body cannot function in the proper way. So you're going to be suffering so many other complications. Okay, and it can actually be fatal at some point, right? Because when inflammation becomes chronic and it's like you can no longer stop it, and various diseases are now coming out because of that, someone could, pass on from there, isn't it? If
true.
It's not checked, and if it's not known.
Yeah.
Therefore, we are concerned. That's why in the dietetic profession, we are really, really, really concerned about people who cannot eat gluten, and we tend to care for them a lot. Okay, by treating them in a special way.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My next question is 3 questions in one.
Okay.
It says, can it be cured? That's one.
Okay.
And are there medical treatment to help sufferers eat gluten at least? Because how can you never eat bread and butter? Many other foods that must be difficult.
Okay, those 3 questions in one. Right? You said, can it be cured?
Can it be cured?
Okay.
Are there any medical treatment to help sufferers eat gluten at least?
Okay.
And because the reason why the person is asking is that because how can you never eat bread and many other foods? Okay.
Yes.
That it must be difficult for sufferers to live. When they ask you, don't eat this, don't eat that.
Yes.
It's really difficult to keep track.
Yeah.
So what is your advice?
Okay. First question.
Yeah.
Can it be cured?
Can it be cured?
The answer is no.
Oh my dear.
It cannot be cured.
Okay.
It can be managed,
All
but
right.
it cannot be cured. The only cure to gluten intolerance is to avoid gluten.
Okay.
Avoidance is the cure to gluten intolerance.
So are there no medical treatments?
There are no medications that can do it. There are no medications yet.
Can I eat bread and butter and have tablets to take in so it doesn't cause me any issues afterwards?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
You can only avoid foods containing gluten. Okay, so as for other treatments, no other treatments for it. The only treatment we have for it is to avoid gluten.
That's very difficult for sufferers.
And that is so difficult, especially when people have just been diagnosed and they know now that all of a sudden they need to put an end to eating of bread, pizzas, biscuits. Hey, let me tell you something. It is not only breads and biscuits and pizzas that have gluten in it.
Okay.
You know today, if you go to the shop and buy some packs of sausages, which is meat, they contain gluten. Because there is flour or stale bread crumbs mixed in it. Anything at all that has flour added to it in any way, either to use it as a thickener or to enhance the texture or taste or anything, a gluten sufferer will not be eating that.
And we have some of our pasta sauce.
We have some sauces.
Yeah, they have this thickness.
Yes, in them.
Yeah.
You will not be eating that.
Okay.
Anything at all. Therefore, if you suffer from gluten intolerance, you want to read labels.
That's right.
Everything you buy, you want to see, does it have wheat in it? For example, you know this malt drink that is so delicious.
Yes.
You can't drink it if you have gluten because it's brewed from barley or malt. When they say malt extract or whatever, it's all from gluten. It's from barley, so you can't drink that. Imagine that. Then, if you are the type that likes to drink beer, if you are gluten intolerant, you will have to stop drinking beer because it's brewed from barley and other grains as well. However, there are replacements anyway. That is the treatment for it. There are replacements for gluten products in the market.
Okay.
We have some shops where you can find gluten-free products. You can find gluten-free breads. You can find gluten-free biscuits. You can find gluten-free pizzas, pastas. You can find, spaghetti sauces. You can find pancakes and waffles.
Okay.
And you can find even beer, gluten-free beer.
Wow.
They are all available, okay,
That's
out
really
there.
good.
Yes,
Okay.
there are so many. The only thing is that the companies that produce these items are not many. Therefore, the items are a bit more expensive than the regular ones. Imagine they are producing just few, isn't
Yes,
it? So,
yes.
and then that makes it even harder
That's
to
true.
cope with the condition. You know, that makes it even harder. Yeah. So that's in terms of treatment. The only treatment we have is avoidance and replacing them with the few gluten-free items that you have in the shop. There are some companies that are dedicated to producing gluten-free items.
Okay, that's really an eye-opener.
Yeah.
I never knew they have.
We do.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that. All right, my next question is, how does cutting off gluten food affect the nutritional status of the sufferers?
Wow, this is really dietetic now. This is really dietetic. Okay, now let me address this question in this way. Number one, if you cut off gluten foods, it means you're cutting off wheat, you're cutting off barley, you're cutting off rye, you're cutting off spelt, and in most cases you're cutting off oats. We know that these particular foods we just mentioned contain very good amounts of minerals and vitamins, okay, and good quality fibers. We know, and these are good for health. All right. So when you cut them off, except you are able to replace them with alternatives, you are likely going to be suffering from inadequate supply of these nutrients that are found in this series, because they are quite loaded with nutrients. Honestly, you got vitamin E there, you have magnesium, you have iron, you have protein, you have different things in there. But for you cutting it off means you are going to lose all of that, and especially because these products are very common in the things we eat on a daily basis.
Right.
So when you cut them off, at first it's going to be like there's no food for you to eat.
So, all right, let's discuss the challenges and difficulties of people living with celiac.
Okay.
When it concerns eating out, or traveling, or attending functions. Like if I go to a wedding now, and there are foods on display, it's not everything in the wedding I can eat, or in some cases there's nothing for me to eat.
Yes.
What do I do? And I'm traveling, and I get worried that, I'll be worried about the food I'm going to eat, or the kind of food I'm going to meet, or what am I going to eat.
Yes.
So let's discuss this.
Wow, you have just spoken like you know exactly what people go through in this situation.
I'm speaking your mind.
Yes, she's representing you very well. Honestly, she's playing your role. And so what happens is that it is very true. Because number one, there are not many shops where you can find gluten-free items. They are very scarce. If you walk into cafes where you can easily buy maybe a turnover, or let me say a pie, or a pastry or something, biscuits and a cup of hot chocolate, you will not find gluten-free item there. You will not find it because they don't stock them. Okay, so you could just go in there and they look around and there's literally nothing for you to buy.
Wow.
Except for maybe a cup of hot chocolate. And God save you if they don't have some flour added as a thickener in those hot chocolates anyway. So it's hard. So yes, it's true, it's hard. So when you're traveling, for example, and you find yourself in the airport and you wanted to just pop into a shop and buy things like every other person is doing, you're not going to find something. Or in the plane and they're distributing pastries, you're not going to find anything because you don't have anything like that to eat. Then when you're with friends and then you go out to places where they have chicken and beef and different stuff, except it's a proper restaurant where they probably will not be using, or maybe they will not be using butter for their chicken or meat. You may want to, otherwise you will not find something there. And then it's hard. I would really agree with that. It's very hard. So one of the things that I would normally advise my patients to do in those circumstances would be, number one, if you're traveling, prepare your own sandwich using your gluten-free bread.
Okay.
At home. Have your own packed lunch with your gluten-free things in that pack. Okay, maybe your sandwich, have a piece of fruits, maybe yogurt, stuff like that. Okay, you don't need to buy anything from outside. Even if you need to buy something, maybe just a bottle of drink, right?
Yeah.
That way you don't face hunger for too long.
Okay.
If you're going to a restaurant, you may want to send a message ahead. If it's a restaurant that you have to book before you go, they need to know you are celiac. All right? So they might prepare your own separately. If you travel, for example, you're in a hotel and it's the time for breakfast in the morning, where they usually have everything you need there, like bread and all of that, you still have to ask them, I am celiac, please do you have gluten-free bread? Then they go in, you find out that they go into the kitchen and they bring you some slices of gluten-free bread. They will have to toast it for you in their own kitchen and then bring it specially for you, because they're not going to miss it all, because there's the issue of cross-contamination, which you don't want to engage in.
It's really difficult.
It's hard.
It's really difficult,
It's hard. But when you have been living with it, then you learn how to live, because, your health matters to you more than anything else, isn't it? So, also, your friends and relatives need to know that you have gluten intolerance. Therefore, they don't just keep offering you everything they are eating, because they know you cannot have it. All right. So, number one, let them know. Two, make your own preparations ahead. Three, you can make a phone call ahead so that the place you're going to are aware that you're coming. Okay,
this is really good.
Even when you are partying out.
Exactly. I was going to ask, what about if I go to a wedding or a function? What do I do?
You have to be aware. You just have to be aware. You can't just be eating just like that, because you are not sure even where that food was prepared, whether it was contaminated. So you just have to be disciplined. However, at least you can have a drink which you open up. You know this is a drink. Right? A bottle of drink is safe. At least it's safe to some extent, And then maybe if they have any other packaged food which reads gluten-free. And then otherwise, you just...
you made use of one keyword. You said discipline. And one should be disciplined. It's really true. Because if you're not disciplined, you are the sufferer. So if you go to any parties or outings, if you don't do what the dietitians had advised, and you do otherwise, you're going to suffer. And you don't want to go through those stress. So, one word, discipline is key. All right. Thank you, dietitian. Preparation and discipline. Thank you. That's true. All right. My next question is, how can you go around these challenges to still be able to eat and feel good? How can you go around it?
Okay. Number one, you need to know more about your condition. What are those foods containing these things? What are all the options out there for me?
What are all the options out there for me? So I need to know. I need to carry out investigation, thorough investigation. That's true.
You need to know the shops that carry the foods that you can eat. It's not all for example, Asda does, Sainsbury does.
This is in UK.
In the UK anyway. So I think I traveled to Germany and I went to a shop in Germany and they had gluten-free eye. It was so interesting.
That's good.
Yes, they did. So you need to know which shops carry your food. You need to know by your condition. Then you need to communicate with the people around you. They need to know where you suffer and why you can't eat those things and what you need to avoid. So your family, your friends also need to know about your condition. So that helps you and makes it easy for you. And then also, this is internal. You just have to accept who you are. This is me, right? This is who I am. We're all different.
That's right.
Another person is free to eat gluten. If I'm not free to eat gluten, it doesn't make me any less of a human being.
That's correct.
It just means that my body right now isn't ready for it. And I can only give my body what my body is ready for. That is going to give me good health. And that is what I will settle for. Okay, so just knowing who I am and treating myself in a way that my body is happy and excited and live without dying, that is very, very paramount.
All right.
Yes, so when it comes to handling your issues,
Thank you.
And don't fail to consult a medical practitioner who will teach you better what and what
I think everyone suffering from gluten intolerance or is it celiac?
Yes,
Celiac.
Yeah.
I think they need a dietitian.
Yes.
Don't suffer alone.
No.
Don't go through the struggles alone.
No.
Why struggling alone? Why suffering alone? Even talking to someone, a practitioner, it helps.
Yes.
It even relieves you
Yes.
that you are able to, explain yourself. You are able to, divulge everything eating inside you out. And trust me, you must get solution. They will tell you what to do. Thank you for that. Next question here is, how do you know you have it? That's number one. How do you know you have gluten intolerance or you're celiac?
Okay.
Because there could be other reasons why someone is experiencing digestive pains and other symptoms.
Okay. How do you know you have it?
Yeah.
Now,
because some people might have it, they don't know they have it.
Yes.
They might be thinking, oh, it's because I ate this food.
Yes.
Oh, could it be because I ate this food late at night? Whereas you have celiac, you don't know. So how do we know?
Okay, good thing. So this same question you have asked me is the reason why so many people go on with celiac disease for many years.
Oh wow.
And never know they have celiac disease. But they just know they never have peace in their digestive system. They just know they suffer chronically. Okay, like on a continuous basis. They just suffer from different inflammation. They will have joint pains. They would have different types of diseases or conditions, autoimmune issues. They won't know that the simple thing they need to cut off is celiac. Some people will even, undergo surgeries of certain parts of the digestive system because there is inflammation there. There is issues that could not be handled, and the only solution they could come up with was surgery. Not knowing, all they needed to just do was to do away with gluten, but they didn't know. So what I would say is that how do you know? Is to go for a test. The moment you start to have digestive issues and just the normal simple medication isn't fixing it, you go to the doctor and you're given medication to relieve stomach pain, it's not fixing it. And then you notice this thing keeps coming up. Yeah, especially maybe when you eat certain foods. Then you may want to give a thought to what could be happening here. And then you may want to suggest it. Your doctor may not even suggest it. You may have to suggest it to your doctor when you go for a checkup and say, doctor, I think it would be worth my while to have it a check to see if I have gluten intolerance. Again, that's where the issue of knowledge comes in. Like we said before, if you don't even know there's anything called gluten, how would you ask for it? And that is the importance of this podcast. That's why I will be so excited if you click the subscribe button now,
please,
and you give us a thumbs up, and you leave a comment on the comment section, and then most importantly, an act of goodness, you share. So that people out there can know the information that you are learning today.
That's right. And people suffering too will learn from it.
Learn from it. Somebody might have been suffering different things for many years and never know until they listen to this podcast. They're going to be like, oh, could it be gluten intolerance? I have. And then they go to see the doctor and they find out it is gluten intolerance. You would have saved a life.
Yes.
Please share our video. We don't charge anything for it. Feel free to share our video, okay? Thank you so much. So that's how you will know. By going for a test.
Going for a test. All right. So you've had it now. Go for a test, please. Our last question on the list, and we're going back to the first case study, and I want to ask the dietitians for her advice to the person who wrote this to us. The first thing the person said, I was having digestive pains, diarrhea, and constipation severely. I want to ask the dietitians, what kind of advice do you have for this person? Because this person has stopped eating gluten. They've stopped eating it entirely, and the pain and the treatment. So what is your advice for this person?
Right. Okay. Yeah, this was the question that actually brought us into treating. I hope I've made a PhD holder out of you today. When it comes to gluten, you can now teach it to some people. All right. Honestly, let us come back to this person's question. This person stopped all of a sudden. We have lots of people who do this. Okay, they do this because they just find out that they're not okay. They're having symptoms. And so they read somewhere, or somebody said, what if you stop gluten? They just stop. and then they start to feel good. But for some reasons, it's always advisable that you get a proper test, proper diagnosis. Why? Because it will be documented in your medical record for other reasons. In case you are probably admitted even in the hospital and you are not talking, and people are not even, if there's nobody to speak for you at that time, your record is going to show to medical staff that you are gluten intolerant. So they will not feed you with gluten.
That's correct. That's, my goodness.
There are people who have been mistakenly fed with gluten foods because it was not in their record. An example of a patient who passed on like that. So it's very important that you get properly diagnosed. However, if you have now stopped eating gluten for a long time and you are well, and you now think you need to get diagnosed, that is going to be a bit challenging for you as a person. That's because now you're going to have to eat gluten in your meals daily for 6 weeks. And what that means, you're going to be experiencing digestive flare-ups, which you do not want. This will be a decision for you to make. There is no other way that you can do gluten test if you are not eating gluten.
Okay.
Because look at it, what are we trying to pick up from your test? It's the gluten. We want to see if your digestive system is handling it or not. So if there's no gluten there, we can't check it. Alright, so you need to eat gluten for 6 weeks. This is the way it works. There's no other way out of it. You've got to eat the gluten and do the test. Then after the test, stop eating gluten and continue to heal your digestive system for another, as long as it may take your digestive system to heal. It varies from people to people.
Yeah.
But it would be very meaningful for you to do your test and have it documented. And you can actually have a record to say, this is my record and this is the proof that I have, celiac. So if you ask me, this person that asked this question, my advice is that you will be the one to take this decision by yourself, knowing the pains that you go through when you eat gluten. You also know the reason why you need to be properly diagnosed. It means that it's very important to you.
It's really good.
That's why you're trying to do that. And to that extent, I would say, if you really need to do it and you want to do it, then go ahead and do it. But it's definitely going to come with suffering. Okay, so but if it's not going to be too fatal or it's not going to be that too dangerous, especially when you know that it's for a time, it may be worth trying.
All right.
That would just be my. I'm really, really sorry that I can't really help. In that.
Well, you've been helpful. I think you've been helpful. The information you've passed on is really informative.
Okay.
And I want to say we've come to the end of our questions.
Okay.
And thank you for all your answers.
Okay.
And to our subscribers, please subscribe. Click on the like button and on the post notifications. And whenever we drop any videos, you'll be the first to know. And also, for any questions that you have, mind you, no question is silly or small. No. Please send in your questions. Our dietitian, she's ready to answer them.
Definitely. And
I'm again, Dublessed forever. I'm ready to ask your questions.
Yes.
I'm ready to stand in for you.
Wow.
All right. So
lucky you guys.
Over to you, dietitian.
Thank you so much, Dublessed forever. It's been wonderful having you in the studio today, and I've actually enjoyed every bit of it. I love talking about food, nutrition, and wellness. Please be sure to come back to our channel again and look forward to episode number 2 dropping next week exactly. Don't forget to share, subscribe, like, and comment. Send in your questions. Whatever kind of question it is related to food, nutrition, and wellness,
any question,
I am excited to address it. Definitely do that. And I love you. And I remain your online bestie, Dietitian Mercy.
Oh, this is good.
So this has been wonderful.
Oh, this is good, Sister Mercy. God bless you. I love this.